Don't I look clean, cameraman? You look very smooth.
You got shaved.
Yes, Ms. Goo called me a ragamuffin again.
You were kind of getting. That is the one unfortunate thing about having short hair is that
you have to cut it regularly
all the time. Yeah. Otherwise, it's like I mean, when we first started Gooey Cube, I had very short hair.
You did.
And then the pandemic happened, and then I just let it grow out and turned it purple.
And now you have long purple
hair. Yeah. So
very cool.
But the one thing is that it is expensive because you have to keep going back to get it like shaped and trimmed.
Oh yes, all the time.
So
it's what you must do.
Yes. People are cheering us on. They're like, it's okay. They're giving us they're gifting tears, and
you are the best. Yes. I gotta tell you, because cameraman, I do think Goo Morning Zyathé is pretty fun. Generally pretty fun. I know that it's low budget production, and I know that you and I are kind of goofy sometimes and not always as prepared as we should be. And of course we have technical difficulties all the time. Yes.
That's just streaming.
Yes. But look, I'm frozen. I can't move.
You're not frozen.
I was frozen. On the TV, I was frozen.
Yeah, but that's only because I'm uploading all my slides and stuff.
Oh, yes, all the things that she must upload.
But they wouldn't know, yeah.
So actually, my friends, this is going to be fun today. So we're going to talk about NPCs, how to use them, how not to use them. We're going to speak to that. We're going to get some wonderful chat thing going because we want to get some opinions from you all on some certain items. We're going to talk a little bit more about the strange goings on in St. Louis, right, Cameramendi?
Naturally.
Yes. So I think people really like that. So
the St. Louis.
Yes, the St. Louis saga. I think we'll have to see what the chat says, and tell the truth. Always tell the truth, chat, because we want to be able to.
I think that your goofiness is fun.
Well, I got to say that a couple of those images that remember, I'm not working with Photoshop because I don't know how to use Photoshop. I worked entirely in InDesign, and I think some of those images are magnificent. Like the one of the arch with the gate, and I mean, you got that one, right?
Yes.
Yes. So
now, with that said, you do just have like a giant box in front of you.
Yes, there's a giant box with a damn snail sitting on top of it.
Yes.
Cameraman, this is kind of a cute snail. Yes. I must admit.
It is a cute snail.
Yes.
Are you gonna kiss it again?
What?
You kissed it the first time you saw it. Are you gonna kiss it again?
Oh, you little sweet thing.
No,
I'm not gonna kiss it. I have no idea where it's been.
Okay. So here's the story behind this giant box that's sitting on your table.
Yes.
Okay, so apparently you did a favor for Dan. Dan of Dan and Tej.
I know Dan.
Okay.
I love Dan.
And this is how I identify them. Dan of Dan and Tej.
Tej
is just such a good name that you already know.
Tej is off the hook.
Yes. Okay. Anyway. So as a return for the favor,
yes,
Lawrence worked with Dan to pick out some stuff for you.
I know. I told Dan he wasn't supposed to do this.
Well, we always tell Dan he's not supposed to do stuff.
Giving love does not need to be rewarded. Giving love is just giving love.
Well, I agree with that. So, but with that said, he did return some love, and
he is a marvelous person.
So you are to open the box and see what is inside.
All right.
There's several things in there.
Am I supposed to stand up?
I mean, you can.
Because if I stand up, I'm going to be out of frame. But I don't know if
you kind of hover over it.
All right, I will do this, cameraman. They have a great idea.
Yeah.
I will sit on the edge of my chair right here, which will keep me. Oh! Good God, cameraman! It was almost a wardrobe malfunction. All right. I'm going to open the box. Oh, good gracious, Dan.
I know, right?
Dan, I told you. So. Folks don't know, maybe they don't know about this, but Parabellum is a magnificent company that makes magnificent miniatures. And Dan, we gave a little love to Parabellum and to Dan, and I kept telling them they didn't need to do anything back. Well, clearly they did something back.
Well, that's not the only thing in the box.
Oh, no, I got it goes on. Yes, it goes on quite a bit. I mean, look at these, cameraman.
Wow.
Yes.
Wow.
Is that not magnificent?
Yeah.
This is called the Stone Forge, right? So this is like a dwarven golem, I believe. And you can see.
Someone's asking, do I have audio playing in other tabs? Wait, is the audio sounding good, guys? Let me know.
Well, it might be because I'm down in a different position on the microphone.
No, I think that I think most people are hearing us. If I'm understanding, I think there's one person who's having issues.
Oh, well, let us know if there's
Seems
a problem.
Seems like a voiceover that's different. Okay. Slightly muffled. Sound is definitely quiet.
So here is the Archangel. I hope you all can see this on the camera. There we go. Like that. Look at that, cameraman. I mean, these are really miniatures. What's wrong, cameraman? You're freaking out over there.
Oh, well, I'm just trying to figure out why the audio is quiet.
Well, we'll figure it out.
This is why no one is allowed to use my computer anymore.
I'm okay with that. I said
yes, okay.
Look at this.
Okay, they say, I'm fine, but yours is quiet. Why
is it possible? Is this better when I talk like this? Is that helping right now?
Oh my gosh.
Because it's very possible that it's because I'm past the microphone. Is that better?
I mean, your mic should be, they said yes. So
yes,
okay.
I'll try and turn my head when I speak a little better. So anyway, look at this. Ooh. And look at this.
Oh.
Wow.
These are
Fallen
awesome.
Divinity, yes. Old Dominion. Yes, Parabellum is marvelous. And there's a lot more in here, Cameramendi. I mean, like a lot. There's a lot of other little things. So anyway. Oh my goodness. Yes, this is quite something. Dan, my friend, and all my friends at Parabellum, we love you.
And like they tried to make those, like some of them are supposed to look like the Infernape.
Oh yes,
it's really, they really tried to get within like kind of the themes of.
Yeah, this is really magnificent. I mean, it's magnificent. I'll have to get a little painting going on here and do this. But even in the bottom here, Cameramendi, look at these guys. Yes, they look like some very not fine individuals. They are called, I need to learn about this a little more. They are called the Sicarii. They do look like not very nice folk. Yes, they look like they would assassinate you. Yes. And then look at these, Kimberly. This is the last of the box. These are Minotaurs.
Very nice.
Yes.
Okay.
All right. I will
go ahead and move the box over. Or do you want me to move the box over?
No, I will. Let me just carefully put this back in here, and you can vamp for time since you do it to me all the time. You have to...
Well, so here's the thing. My Stream Deck, all of my overlays are off, so we're gonna have to just deal with some manual stuff.
What do you mean? How is this possible that all of this is happening?
I don't know, but yeah,
But it's all Lawrence's fault.
I don't know that it is. I don't want to blame. I don't want to cast stones. I don't
cast
know.
Stones. Oh, I just bumped the microphone.
So all of the things that make it easy for me to press between stuff is now not functioning anymore. So yeah. So
it is a low budget production.
Yes. I'm sorry, y'all. So this is I will blame myself. I will take the responsibility because knowing that someone had come in and used my computer, I should have come in before and checked.
You could have done it yesterday when you said you had a little time on your hands.
So, well, I was doing other things. I have so much stuff going on. So, here, let me put this closer to you.
It should be fine now. All right. Is that better?
So, anyway. Okay.
Now it's right in the frame, cameraman.
That's fine. I've given up. I've given up for the morning. We're gonna have a great
The entire
show.
suspension of disbelief is ruined by this black lump.
I just want to make sure the audio was good. Okay. So let's do some quick social media, and then we have a great discussion topic about NPCs today.
Oh, Dan, by the way, next time I see you, which I believe is at Gen Con, we will have a libation or two together. Oh, yes, there it is. I mean, Cameramendi. So Ms. Goo and I have determined very clearly that this arch in St. Louis is not what it seems. And honestly, there were people in the chat who understood this before we even encountered this hidden gate, which of course, when Cthulhu came through, Jeff Richard came in right after that.
Naturally. I want to know how you got Aunt Diane to do this.
Ms. Goo. So I said to Ms. Goo, Ms. Goo, look, there are sheep. You could be a mutton buster. And she laughed at me. And she said, okay.
She's also given up.
And she got on the old sheep. And then, of course, we wove this marvelous tale around, because when you're looking through her magical goggles, you can see all these strange fey creatures all over the place in St. Louis. And, of course, we now know that the origin of these, or at least where they are congregating, is the Tums building. Yes. Yes. And apparently many people in St. Louis have heartburn. So we think it's some kind of a method to sell more Tums.
Makes sense. Makes sense.
But I did find this. Camera Mandy, look at this now. This, an homage to the Gooey Cube.
Naturally.
Right in St. Louis.
I'm going to go as far as saying I think anything that is cube-shaped from now on is an homage to Gooey Cube. Like, naturally. So...
So we did have a great time in St. Louis, and I think people enjoyed the goofy things that we were doing.
Yeah.
So I talked to Ms. Goo. So we're going to go on this. Oh, we can keep going. So yes, this is what I talked about. So I talked to Ms. Goo because it's our 40th wedding anniversary. You know this, yes. We've actually been together for 43 years and known each other for nearly 50. So anyway, so we are going to go on an adventure, Ms. Goo and I. We are going to a certain tropical location, but then we're going to some other locations.
Are you getting kidnapped?
No, that's already been done.
Oh, okay.
So we have been talking about other ideas, and we have we think a pretty fun idea, and we're going to wrap a little giveaway and a scavenger hunt and some other things around it. And you won't have to, you'll have to kind of keep up, but you won't. It's not like you have to be on top of every post that we put up and all of that stuff, because we'll figure out some things. But I think it'll be a lot of fun, and people have a chance to win some things. I don't know if they're going to win yet, but you know how I am. Yes. I do think we give away more crap than anybody.
I mean, it's good stuff.
Which I'm glad.
We should actually like do a giveaway, or I thought
we have to announce one.
Yeah. So 2 things. First off, hold on. There we go. So this is the drawing for the Name the Temple contest. So there's going to be 2 winners.
There's 2 winners for the Name of the contest. So one person wins no matter whether yours the best name or the absolute turdiest name.
And that person was Randy Price.
Randy had the turdiest name?
Yeah. Well, no. They won the drawing. Randy won the drawing. So
congratulations, Randy.
Yes. So as you can see here, I did it. I just wanted to prove that like it was, what I do is I have them all in a spreadsheet, and then I randomize the data. Because
I do not think there's a single person in the chat that thinks you cheat.
I don't know. I just want to make sure. Anyway, congratulations,
I
Randy.
think we should do one more winner.
Number 142.
Let's draw one more.
Okay,
we can do it next week if you want. We'll do another. Maybe we'll even do 2 more, because we got.
These are giving away the posters.
And I have to tell you something. Well, we can give away other things too, but I have to tell you something, Cameron. People.
Chet says he thinks I cheat.
Chet, where there's a whip. There's a way. Yes, I was reminded of our marvelous singing. Yes, this morning. So, but Chet, she doesn't. I don't think she does.
Oh, no, absolutely not.
And if your name doesn't come up for like 5 years, then you'll know she cheats, because she's mad at you for narking her out. Anyway, but listen. So here's what we think. What was I talking about? Oh, to draw another winner. The names. So we got so many. You know this.
Yes.
Marvelous. Wonderful, creative, interesting, fun, hilarious names on this little goofy naming contest thing. I mean, it was, and lots of people participated. So I'm kind of thinking, let's give a couple more rewards. We can do it over the next couple weeks if you want to. We can do it however you want to.
Sounds good.
But let's give a couple more rewards to some folks.
Okay.
I do think we have a winner though, but we're not going to announce that one.
Is it the one that I like?
We're not.
Okay. I'm just curious. There was one name that me and Lawrence both separately really liked, and then we were like, oh, like that's the one. Okay. Anyway, and then
the thing is, it's very difficult, right? Because there were so many really good names, and I think we'll see what folks think. Yeah.
Okay.
All right.
Well, next up is the caption
but we're
contest.
definitely people can win another. Yes. Oh yes, the caption contest, another damn giveaway.
So Heather won the drawing.
So this is not necessarily the ones the best.
I have the 2 that were picked. So the other 2, but Heather won the drawing with. I told you I was wearing this hat, Alphinius. I'm still not. Haha. So Heather won the drawing. The Goo crew.
Yes, because they all voted on it.
Yeah. They picked this one from Jason McCracken.
Yes, I know. Jason, congratulations.
Okay.
I mean, again, this was a problem. Maybe we should draw a couple more, because there were so many good ones.
Well, then Amber, because Amber did the prizes for this.
Yes.
Picked. Oh, wait. I'm sorry. Amber picked this one.
Amber picked that one.
Sorry, Amber picked this one. The Goo
Yes.
Crew, though, this was like their second choice.
That was
so
they loved it.
yeah, but then the Goo Crew picked this one. You can't just add 15K words to the document after we finish formatting. Oh yeah, well now it's 30K, and I mean that just hit home for them. So
Poor Goo Crew. I got to give Amber credit. You know, again, see, this is the creativity of the group. This doesn't exist without Amber.
I agree, because she's the one who took the time to get the screenshot.
Yes.
And then she made the dice bags for it. She was like, "Hey, I'd love to
Yes.
contribute a prize." So
Amber.
thank you, Amber.
Yes,
So congratulations to our winners.
Yes.
So-
Maybe, like I said, maybe we'll just do a couple more drawings.
Well, we also started last week another giveaway for something we don't know
Yes,
yet.
but shouldn't we show at least some of more of the? I know you've been showcasing them in the den, but shouldn't we show a few more of the wonderful captions?
I don't have them because they're all
spaced out. And
I mean, I have them in a Google document. I have them all in a Google Doc. But
Well,
yeah,
we can grab a few.
I
But
can
it
grab it.
was Amber. Thank you. Wouldn't exist without you.
yes.
This was cool.
Yes. So in case you need it for your D&D games or siege actions, here's what the ballistic trajectory of a flaming pumpkin fired out of a trebuchet looks like. So
So I don't know how many people in the chat have ever watched this, but there is a program that comes on every once in a while showing the pumpkin chucking contest where these people build these trebuchets, they build these different siege engines, and they chuck pumpkins.
mhm.
And there's prizes, and it's fascinating. Has anybody in the chat ever seen this? Because I've seen it like 5 times, but I do look for it.
Mhm.
So, and of course, you can now find it on streaming, of course, versus the old days when you had to find it whenever it was playing on the boob tube, as it were. But yes,
Why do they
fantastic.
call it the boob tube?
Because you were a boob if you were watching it all the time. That was the idea.
Oh,
right.
That was back when boob was a different terminology than it is.
Well, I'm sure boob was also a boob, but but that's a different thing.
You tell me, you were probably there.
I think my
That was an old
recollection
joke.
is that boobs were called boobs for a long, long time. Can anyone in the chat validate
Yeah,
that?
Google check
Somebody Google check
When did-
out when did boobs become boobs?
that.
Good
What a
God,
show.
cameraman, you're
What a
always taking
show.
us down the dirty path.
Okay, Christina Rager
Christina.
made this amazing dragon
Yes.
using like hot glue and just like materials from around the house.
Yes, and again, this is what I'm saying, right? This is. I mean, I hope people. The problem is Facebook's algorithm hides stuff. You know how it does, right? All that stupid thing that happens.
Mhm.
But this is. I mean, this is magnificent work. This is just a wonderful, talented individual who took with materials that you kind of look at and you go, no way, right? You
Mhm.
kind of go, no way, and then you look at it and you're like, that is spectacular. And Christina, of course, makes many wonderful creative posts. What are you laughing at over there, cameraman?
Just Grey Wolf just put in the chat knockers.
Made famous by the young Frankenstein, cameraman.
Is it really?
Yes.
I didn't know that's where that originated.
It was made famous. I'm sure
Okay.
it was not. So what happened is they were coming up to the door in the Young Frankenstein. They were coming up to the
I
door
watched Young Frankenstein like
of the evil castle.
Uh-huh.
Yes, and it was Gene Wilder and Marty Feldman and what was her name? The blonde-haired, funny, very wonderful comedian.
Mhm.
She was in. Goodness gracious! Somebody in the chat remind me. She's very pretty, very funny, and she was in Young Frankenstein. She was blonde. God,
Okay, we're getting caught
nobody in the chat's getting that.
up. Madeline Kahn,
No, not Madeline Kahn. She was in the Young Frankenstein as well, but she was different.
Terry Garr.
Terry Garr. So Terry is walking up there, and she's wearing kind of a slinky dress. And Gene Wilder, who is Frankenstein,
Mhm.
is walking up there, and Marty Feldman, of course, is Igor, right? And his
Mhm.
hump switches back and forth, but that's a different thing. And anyway, so there's these enormous, door knocking things, right? These big rings. I use, the rings and all that stuff sitting on the door. And Gene Wilder looks at the door and goes, "What knockers?" And Terry Garr goes, "Oh, thank you, doctor."
Well, we've gotten totally derailed.
That's okay. This
But with
people
that
expect.
said-
I think actually the people
with
watch
that
for us
said-
doing this stupid stuff.
Just a little my mud, which by the way, I really like that name. Just a little my
What is
mud.
it?
Just a little my mud.
Just a little mind mud,
My mud. My
or just a
mud.
little my
or
mud.
me mud. I'm not sure. But with that said, boob is a slang term for someone gullible or slow. So boob tube is implying that the TV is for gullible or simple people.
Yes.
So that was back in the day when it was like a new, fresh thing.
Yes.
And people didn't realize that you could just put your kids in front of it for a little bit and actually have some peace and quiet. So
and turn them into boobs.
Okay. Gotta go quickly on this.
All right, let's go.
We did St. Louis, so we'll skip that.
Oh, you're skipping that?
Okay.
This is pretty good,
The
Chet.
tomato frog's defense mechanism is to secrete a glue that ultimately causes their predator's lips to stick together.
You just hope that they stick together when you're out of the mouth, not in it.
There was actually some really fun facts posted. This one was from Andy.
Yes,
the hagfish oozes slime when attacked. It can fill a bucket with slime in minutes, clogging a predator's gills and making escape easy.
Yes, because they literally deprive the prey of oxygen. I know about hagfish. This was great. Randy put this one up too. Randy's been doing some great posts lately as well.
Yeah.
No, very, very good.
I like these because these are great ideas for your players.
Can you imagine?
If you're like filling up, like you're in combat,
yes.
and then suddenly this effect happens to you where your lungs are filling up with like slime, basically, and like the clock is like ticking. So either you have to disengage and get the F out of there,
Yep.
or I'm just saying, like, there's some good stuff here.
Well, and also just thinking about strange worms in the ground that secrete slime that burns you, or secrete slimes that causes the terrain to, be difficult for you to work in, right? And then there's the king or queen wormy, slimy thing, and it's this is it, right?
I got a good one for this frog one.
Yes.
If the monster glues the spellcaster's mouth closed, so they can't cast.
They squirt glue.
Yeah, I'm just saying. Okay. Anyway, fun stuff. Okay. Our community highlight this week.
Yes.
Mr.
Andy Grover.
Yes. Who, I know we talk about
my
a lot,
nemesis,
but he really does do so much for Gooey Cube.
He's magnificent.
Yes. So, anyway, congratulations to Andy. Andy is
he even watching?
I think he's out of town today.
That's right. He's out for like 2 weeks.
Yeah.
So we should have done somebody else. We at least could have been watching.
Well, I didn't know he was out of town until he posted it on the post.
We can put it up in the Gooey Den. He'll see it in the Gooey Den.
It's in the Gooey Den.
Yes.
So anyway, Andy is spectacular. He's a mechanical genius. He has just a brain for analytics and numbers. He keeps us on our toes. He keeps us honest.
Yes.
Keeps us, but not like in a way like he puts his money where his mouth is. You know what I'm saying? Like
he's magnificent. I mean, again, that's why we have the error report channel and suggestions channel and all that kind of stuff, because we really do believe our community helps make us better.
Oh, absolutely.
Right. And some companies
Ken's
don't.
in the chat too. And Ken
is magnificent.
Yes.
So Ken is magnificent.
We love we do not want to live in any kind of echo chamber.
Absolutely.
So hearing this kind of feedback, it's great to get the good feedback.
Yes.
The good feedback keeps us going, makes us feel like, okay, we're doing something right here.
Yes.
The feedback that says, hey, this could be better or this could be better, that's ultimately though like very helpful to us.
Well, Rainbow has been, and the Discord has been running the Red Star Rising campaign for quite a long time, and has given us some great suggestions for when we sort of revamp the books here in the future.
We're going to be talking about the Red Star Rising campaign because I pulled all of my NPCs from it.
Yes, how fun.
Yeah, for the NPC discussion. Okay, really quickly, we had 2 people get their folios and artworks. This is Tim, and what a great piece of art.
Yes.
What a great piece of art.
Yes, that's Degeric. I think it's Degeric. I don't think it's Degeric. I think it's Degeric Stormforge, I think is the name. But magnificent, yes.
Yeah. Yes. And Casey and John also got theirs and posted a nice picture. However, I accidentally just exited out of it. So, but
well, just jump back in.
I have to like pull it up again.
It's okay, Camera Mendy.
Oh my goodness!
You can just go to your little screen. Everyone can look at the serene
my computer is
little
like
bridge.
freaking out. Hold on.
Maybe you have a virus.
No, it's not that.
She has been infested.
Like I'm gonna be honest with you. This morning, that's why is it showing up now?
Oh, it's showing up
I
now.
minimized. Okay, so this morning I minimized VMix.
Yes.
And then it just disappeared. Like I could not find where it was at. And
you
now
might have a virus.
I don't know. It was all very weird.
Maybe we need to have our friend Adam.
Well, Adam has to come back in because he needs to reprogram my stream deck.
Yes, we need. I think we need to take a look at this. But look at that. Oh, magnificent.
Yes. So, and both of them gave us very kind feedback about the quality of the materials. So.
Well, Benjo's been doing a lot of portraits for us lately, and he's one of the better, right up there with Vera and a couple of others. And
Rosala says, if I have a virus, you're the one who gave it to me.
Portolis, I think you are a virus.
Oh my gosh. Casey also posted this great picture.
Yes, that was so good.
Yeah.
Look at that. She said her own personal Cerebrus.
Yeah. Is that how you say it? I thought it was Cerberus.
Cerebrus.
Everyone put in the chat how you say that. Spell it out.
Severus.
Cerberus.
Oh no, that's Severus Snape. Oh, that's Severus.
Severus Snape. Okay. Next up
but listen, Snape was not his greatest role. No question, his greatest role
was
in Die Hard.
I mean, that was. I mean, there's so many good roles for Alan Rickman.
He was so good.
Yeah.
Amazing.
Yeah.
So good. But his villain in Die Hard was it's so multidimensional, so interesting. I mean, I think the chat would agree with me. And he was one of the reasons why Die Hard was so great. Was Alan Rickman's portrayal. And this is fantastic. Ken put this up. This is another marvelous artist.
What a beautiful what a beautiful book. Like,
yes.
I love the cover, the art inside of it. So this is Joan Egger Kranz. Sorry if I pronounced that wrong. Kranz. Forgive me, all. Forgive me. I had a great morning this morning.
Yes.
Like, I woke up. I was in such a good. I still am. You know, at the end of the day, let me just tell you something.
Camera Mendy, show yourself.
Here's the problem though. I don't have it on my stream deck anymore. So then I have to go to like a different screen.
Yes.
Do it a different screen.
Yes.
And then I have to go like this.
Yes. Wow. 3 little clickers.
But now I have to go back in order to get
3 little clickers.
Okay. Anyway.
You're not even centered in frame. Look at that. It's terrible. Just kidding.
You're not centered in frame either.
Go.
I gave up. But you know what? It's okay. Because like I did not panic this morning. And that's a big thing. So 3 years ago, I would have been like full on meltdown. This morning I was like,
screwed up computer.
Figure it out.
Right.
I can't find where VMix went when I minimized it. My things aren't showing up on my bottom bar. Firefox has somehow been just like disconnected.
I think you got a virus.
I don't have Stream Deck anymore.
I think you got a virus.
Yeah, Adam will come in and fix everything. That's his MO. Anyway, all this to say, this is a gorgeous. It looks just like a very high quality book.
Well, the thing is, it kind of happened organically. A couple of art posts went up from various artists, right? And so then I posted some things and some other people posted some things. And all of a sudden we started seeing some really magnificent artworks. And then I put up the one post where I said, post your favorite Frazetta. And we got some wonderful ones and ones that I hadn't thought about in a while, right? So I went to this site, Frazetta Museum, I think, or something like that it's called. I went to this wonderful site and I looked at a few of them, but I didn't look extensively. And of course, Michelle put up one that was magnificent. I mean, it was really fun to have folks putting up their favorite Frazetta. Because honestly, there are still, I think, at the time, right, when Frazetta was very popular, one of the things that people talked about, who are sort of artsy critics, if you will, because obviously he's popular art, so the real art snobs didn't care so much about his work at that time. But his anatomical renderings, just so realistic, such a feeling of movement, and it's just really, really good, really good. Preach it.
I'm enjoying it. Get into the den if you're not in there. I mean,
yeah, get in the den.
Everyone in here is.
And as I said, everyone who hates Facebook, I understand it. I hate it too. So go in the damn den and make a fake character. Yeah. Sorry, go into the Facebook and make a fake character. I almost never look at my own Facebook. I only look at Alphinius's. Because you know what? You know what the Gooey Den and Alphinius's Facebook do for me? What? They brighten my day.
Yeah, they make you happy.
But sometimes when I go to my own Facebook, I see things I'd rather just not see.
Oh, don't we all?
It's my family. They're out of control. No, I'm just kidding. My family's great. But there are lots of people who just need to tone it down. Anyway, Todd.
Look at this picture of Todd.
Magnificent.
Yeah, look at that. He's like, I'm the master.
Yes.
We need to get Todd back on the show.
Yes, I agree.
I'm gonna get him
totally
on
agree.
in the next couple of weeks.
Yes.
So yeah, Todd did it. This is a fabulous build.
What is incredible. And I zoomed in on every image. I looked at every image. And it's just, again, it's just the magnificent creativity, that is not just the people who helped make all of these things, right? Because some of these things are 3D printed. Some, obviously, much of it is Dwarven Forge, but there are other materials. There's miniatures from various organizations, and all of this comes together, and Todd takes it and shapes it into these magnificent, magnificent tabletops.
Yeah, absolutely. Perthala says, well, we work hard to brighten up the day of Camera Mandy there. We just need her to get her to talk more. I do the best I can. Most of the time, when I see all the Jen stuff is on Friday night when I'm going through and snipping stuff for the show. Oh my goodness. I try though. I try. Okay. So these are really cute plush toys from Michelle that she bought for her dog.
She said she bought dog toys, but she's not going to let the dog play with them.
Naturally. I mean, they're too cute. All right. Last but not least, because we got to get on to our discussion.
Yes, Harry. Nice work. I called it the mean green mother for obvious reasons.
Oh my God, that's funny. Awesome.
Yeah, Harry's making some great minis lately. I mean, he always has made great ones, but some of his, you get better as you progress and you learn more techniques and you practice different things, right? It's like exercising any muscle. And he's been just making some great work.
Yeah. Good work, Harry. Good work. Okay. We ready for our discussion?
Well, why not?
Okay. So we are talking today.
Camera Mandy made a slideshow.
I
usually have to make the slideshows.
I'm trying to take some stuff off your plate because I know you're trying to finish.
Yes, we are so close, and I think we know where we're printing, Camera Mandy, and it is going to be a lot more money, but I think we got it solved.
Yes.
Yes. Interesting.
Oh, Lord
NPCs.
Kasamba, hello.
Hey. Hello, my friend.
Okay.
So what we're going to talk about today, and Camera Mandy is really excited about this, and I think it's going to be a lot of fun, is how you build interesting NPCs and making them meaningful, right? And how to use them, and maybe how not to use them.
Yes.
Right. So that's the whole thing.
So I went through and I pulled the NPCs from the Red Star Rising campaign that I most remember interacting with, and I'm going to talk through why I felt like why I as a player liked engaging with them. That was like an interesting experience. Not all of them, because that would take forever, but people with like particular things. So obviously we have our Hanatas here, our family. There's like a random red dot in the middle of that.
Why is there a random red dot? It was
because
right under her boob.
I know.
Good God, Camera Mandy.
It's because I was using your template and there was a map there originally.
Oh, and you just took out the map and left the dot right on her boob.
Yep. It's awkward. It's
awkward.
Rick says we need more unique slimes, oozes, and ooze lords in Zyathé.
So, Rick, I want you to hear me on this. It is in my mind, I think in the next Kickstarter, to do a supplement called Alphinius' Guide to Oozes, Goos, Slimes, and Sludges, or something like that. And we already have quite a number that we've created, and we think we could add a few more, and we think people would love it. So it is in our mind to, when we do the next Kickstarter, which will be Guys and Gags 2, which will take us to the Temple of Evil, and we will have some other things that go on there as well that harken to the days of yore and other just fun happenings. And Camera Mandy, it is official.
What is?
The box for the environs is definitely now has to be the bigger box.
Oh. Yeah, that sounds about right.
It was supposed to be the little box.
Yeah.
But it's the big box.
Of course. People are going to be very excited.
It's magnificent. The artwork, the maps, it is wonderful.
Awesome.
And plenty of room for a game master to move. Right? Not everything's not all dictated. There's lots of little thought starters and idea places, and there's maps that basically you can place and use as you wish. And not every, I think people are going to love it. And more artworks than we promised, more pieces than we promised. It's going to be fantastic. Just a fantastic box. All right, can we continue on? Because the red dot on the boob is.
I know it's just sitting there.
It's just right in my face.
Yeah. So all this to say, these are all NPCs.
So do you know all their names?
I know some of them, like Borog, Kalnese, Cray.
Yep.
Sylvia.
Yeah, you're doing well.
Stoof, Lena.
Yep.
Madame Savencia.
Yep. Old Strem.
The Great Gatsby,
Yeah. Yeah, the
Skizig,
Great Clasby. The
Clasby.
Great Gatsby is a different thing, cameraman.
Yes, which I did pull him as one of my NPCs, and I'll talk about him in a second. Skizig, Frieza.
Wow, you're doing great. I don't remember the one jester's
The
name.
gesture, I know that's the one that I don't remember, and you
jester's name.
created it, so I'm not going to feel bad about that. But I think I got everyone else.
It's been 7 years.
Okay. Okay. Anyway, so one of the things I really obviously love about Red Star Rising is that you created a family and gave us the
Yes.
chance to go interact with all these people in an environment where we were younger, and but I liked the idea of the family. Like
Yes.
basically, these are your people.
Yeah, the one of the things that the goal with the right, because there was a lot of things when we started out with the Red Star Rising campaign. In the idea behind Gooey Cube was all weaved into that, right? Is how do you tell greater tales, right? How do you help game masters to expand and enhance their tales and make them deeper and make them more interesting? And of course, the Red Star Rising is aggressively so because of what happens in Chapter 3. But of course, part of that means that the NPCs, as part of the tale, have to be a real true part of the players, the player characters' lives. And that was the genesis of the troop. And we love the blood touch, right? All of that stuff began to feed into this, and some wonderful, wonderful characters, and hopefully ones that at least according to what I've been hearing from emails and people sent to me, many of them beloved.
Yeah.
Right. Which of course is magnificent, because it's the interactions, right, that make them special.
Yeah.
Right. This is why when we're watching a movie and we begin to relate to a character in that movie. Like, I have so many friends who cry all the time about The Notebook, right? It was a very wonderful, really wonderful. I mean, it was pretty schmaltzy, but it was really wonderful. And that the growing through and their relationships and all that stuff, and you begin to really admire and love and care about these characters, right? And that was the goal with the Hanatas, was to create that feeling.
So here's my tip for do, and here's my tip for don't.
First tip for do and don't.
Yes. So
there may be a few more.
My first tip for do, as a player, is do create a community, do create that feeling of community. My don't is don't introduce every NPC at the same time.
No.
Because it'll get completely overwhelming for your players. So it's better to trickle in. If you're going to create this massive cast, it's better to trickle them in.
And that was how we created actually the adventure. The first adventure, while being there on security detail, they encounter each one of the various NPCs as they go around. Not all of them, obviously. And begin the establishment of the foundation. Because yes, you bring in 30 NPCs, it becomes a little more.
Well, even Ken's saying that he's about to run it, and he's spending time trying to memorize all the NPCs' names, and there's just like so many NPCs.
Now, Ken, I think, did we not put a? Now I agree with you. I would try to memorize them all as well, right?
But there's a cheat sheet.
There's a cheat sheet that's in there, and the portraits obviously help with that. But yes, it is. There's work that has to be done. Now, I will tell you this. I do have a suggestion for when you have a lot of NPCs that you're managing, like you're in a town, right? And you really want to make that town come to life. So you don't want them just meeting with 3 people. You want them meeting with, 15, 20 different people. You want them to, maybe later they go and see the armorer, right? And meet the armorer and the armorer's apprentice. And the armorer's apprentice, her name is Mandy, and the armorer is named Alphinius. Right, and so you meet the armorer and the apprentice, and later they find out that they have been robbed. Right, and so you begin to bring these things together. But if you are trying to manage many NPCs, I try to prioritize them. I try to keep the top level, or the ones that are the most active, that are going to be the most involved, and make sure I've got them down well. Then I have a second tier, and then the third tier, and so that helps me in terms of, especially as I've advanced in age, trying to keep track of them all and memorize them all and all of that stuff.
Yeah, Harry says slow introductions, maybe see meet with a quick name, then a later, more detailed interaction and subsequent conversations.
Absolutely. I also believe we recommended in the Red Star Rising campaign, and I think it's actually written about, is having 2 or 3 of the NPCs sort of associated with each character. So you may have a patron, more of a patron character in Borag for perhaps a barbarian or a warrior character that's in the, or Cray the Blade, right? Both of them would serve very well with that, right? Or Salven, or excuse me, or goodness gracious, help me,
I get what you're saying, and this is why I'm pulling up this. Is this Count Nesse? Or
Count Nesse, thank you very
yeah.
much.
So in the Red Star Rising, I play Kasrin, and there's another character, Theros, and these are his parents. And
Yes.
so having that connection ahead of time, and we also have a brother that's like one of the kids.
Yes.
So having that connection ahead of time helps fill out, I think, the world.
Yes. And if I'm doing this kind of a thing, I will definitely have a session 0 with each individual character where I will give them more background about specific, well, I'll give them more general stuff about the troop and blah, blah, blah. But I'll say your parents are in the troop and blah, blah, and again, try to figure out that top tier of characters who are most important to that player character.
So here's my do and don'ts for this one is like, I like this, like do have characters that are like associated with your player characters, but also like don't have them just sitting around waiting for your player characters. Let them have lives of their own as much as possible. Yeah. So, and that will make them feel like an actual well-rounded character.
Yes, indeed.
I mean, it can be a lot though. I mean,
it is. Well,
if you're trying to build backstories for all your NPCs, but
yes. Well, again, they can be very short, little, few little bullet points to keep track of things, right? And of course, in the Red Star Rising, there are things that happen over the course of, certain NPCs disappear and they don't know where they went. Other things like that happen. That again, we keep trying to bring more realism and more feel to the whole movements of the troop, to the carnival, all of that stuff. Because I have Cameramendi, as you know, we have gotten so much good feedback about that first chapter. I mean, people saying they'd never really thought about. They never really run that kind of an experience before, right? Where you literally have all this stuff going on in a very confined space with the carnival and the troop and the bad guys in there, right? What's his name? Oh goodness gracious!
Constable Rolf?
No, he's kind of.
I did pull up Constable Rolf.
Yeah, Constable Rolf is great.
We can talk about him next.
All right, but Vorsten and those two bad guys are great. They're just great. But Constable Rolf is a complicated NPC.
Yeah, because he's not a bad guy, but he's not a good guy. Like
he's really a good guy.
To a certain set of people.
Right, but he has some biases, right? Which interestingly over time.
Big Ned.
Oh, yes.
Thank you, Ken, who's currently
well done, Ken.
who's currently
and Constable Rolf, of course, the part of our setting of the stage of the Hanataz, right? Was kind of building a little bit of this prejudice in the world, and of course, when Constable Rolf, as you progress through the tale, you begin to realize that Constable Rolf his mind begins to be turned away from sort of this. These are just bad
he learns
people.
Something.
He learns, he gains, he grows, right? And I love him. So what were you going to say about old Constable Rolf?
Oh,
he does make it a little difficult for the PCs and for the
I like the complexity of his character. I like that he's just trying to do what's right by his people.
Yes, and for people who may not know, maybe I should take a little time. So Constable Rolf is the law in Nevermore, which is the village or town that is relatively nearby where the Hanataz Carnival is taking place, right? And a lot of times the law in these towns and villages will kind of come against the Hanataz. They believe they bring trouble, things disappear, stuff like that. That's what they believe. And it's not true, by the way. Actually, the Hanataz are pretty moral.
Well, because they have to be, because if they aren't, then
they could be really a lot of but some people, nefarious people, will actually try to blame them when they're
set
around,
them up.
right? So, so Constable Rolf comes out, right, and he's like, okay, listen, you can stay for a couple of days, but you need to move on, right? And he's kind of he kind of sets the stage that he's really potentially an antagonist, and he is an antagonist. But as the thing progresses,
well, antagonist doesn't necessarily mean bad guy.
Correct.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
So yeah, I think we pretty much have covered up the gambit of what you should do with like a character like this. I would say I mean, it's obviously your table. So like I would personally not play him as a bad guy. I think that it's good to show growth in characters
Absolutely.
and that people can change. I think morally that's a great story to tell. But I mean, of course, if you want to make Constable Rolf evil, make him evil.
Whatever suits your fancy.
Yes. So some of these I don't have like exact like do or don'ts for. Like the Great Gatsby. Here's my do for this. Clasby, whatever. Here's the deal. I love that he's based off the Great Gatsby. Like I think that creating NPCs based off of like pop culture, I think that is so fun. I think it is great for players. I think that they'll enjoy it. You know, I don't know that you necessarily need to make them the centerpiece of your games, but I think that adding in someone like, I mean, man, if one of my GMs pulled out like a Harry Potter.
Look, it's little Mary Potter.
Yeah. or you know, I don't know. I think it is just good fun.
It is.
You know, to kind of base an NPC off someone that's recognizable in our world today. So,
well, and he's a gambler. Right?
Yeah,
that's his whole thing. And I always played him. I think I am the great Clasby. Yes, it is a pleasure. Would you like to play a game of chance? Right? I think that's how I voiced him a little bit. And he's a fun character, and of course, like most of the Hanatas, has a blood touch, right? Which is actually abyssal, which has given him these little horns and make him look a little devilish, right? So you know, he really outside of the Hanatas troop would probably get a lot of grief, no matter where he would go. But and Clasby has tremendous potential, and there's things that happen with him that you could take one of your characters under the wing, where Clasby teaches them to gamble, right? So you start thinking about how can interactions happen based on what a player character wants their character to sort of aspire to, and the troop gives tremendous opportunities for those kinds of things to happen.
Well, I totally agree with you. I think it also takes some of the work off the game master, because if you're basing it off of someone that already exists in the real life, you know, or like in your imagination, because obviously this is a fictional character, you already maybe have some of the like persona of them worked out. You have their voice, you have their mannerisms, so it might even help you role play.
Indeed.
And I agree, like fleshing them out, you know, I think that's a great idea.
I think it works. What does the chat say?
Cassie says Harry Potter sniper. Lady Dragon is asking about who won the caption contest because she came in late. So that was Heather Greasley, Jason McCracken, and Adam Eason are their three winners there. So, and JWiki says Big Ned is an atomic unit, but maybe when he goes down in chapter 2, he can say big ... I don't know what he's saying.
Big Ned's a bad guy.
Yeah. JWK, I don't understand your comment. You have to.
It becomes a big boob.
He says, up here, he says, I plan on playing Big Ned as a guy who only says Big Ned when he speaks.
That's
I see. Okay.
Big.
I missed the first part of that. Okay.
Yeah, Ned is a interesting, and again, another NPC. Now, this is a bad NPC. You know, Ned and Vorsten are problematic individuals, and they were designed to be a little recurring problem for the PCs as they're running security at the carnival, right? So,
well, I did not grab either of them, but I did grab Filthy Floyd because of the characters that made an impression on me, like the bad characters, like the actually bad characters that made an impression on me. Filthy Floyd.
Yes, Filthy Floyd.
Oh my gosh.
And the little doofer, right? I mean,
yeah.
So when we were crafting the Red Star Rising campaign, we did have a thought to various NPCs that really had a chance to be like recurring, right? So we even set it up.
Harry even says one of the nice things about the NPCs in Red Star Rising is that they are recurring. So,
yes, recurring NPCs, right? You want them coming back. You want that, because that's what gives the feeling of the world being alive. And of course, some of our bad guys, we set it up so that they could come back, right? That was the idea. And Filthy Floyd and Little Doofer do give the latitude to the game master to maybe bring them back at a later
we
date.
Killed Filthy Floyd hard because like he was just so yeah. I mean, I don't think it's a bad thing every once in a while to make a character that is so repulsive
Yeah,
you know,
great.
that your players just want to murder him.
Well,
now I do have a don't on this one though.
Okay, go.
Okay, here's my don't. Do not trigger your players with characters like this as much as possible. Like if you can tell, because I will say, Filthy Floyd grossed Dory out tremendously. Oh yeah, to the point where she would have definitely thrown down. We have these things called X and Y cards. So make sure that if you have players at the table who cannot stomach certain things, make sure that they're okay and don't keep pressing in on them. If they're so
pull it back a little bit.
Yeah,
right? Pull it back,
or hit them to someone who doesn't mind so much.
Yes.
But I mean, yeah, he's a squeaky character. Dory likes to be clean.
It is disgusting.
So that is my do and don't here. Is
still one of my favorite portraits.
Yes, I mean, it does evoke just like so much.
And the thing about Floyd, right? The thing about Floyd is, and the whole Butchers, it all goes back to this crazy thing when AJ and I were talking about, this. We wanted to have this something afflicting the people of Nevermore, and we determined that it was booze, and that led to the Moonshiners, and that led to the Butchers. And the Butchers became this wonderful recurring series of individuals that you don't often find in a fantasy RPG, right? You don't find hillbillies, as it were.
So, Lady Dragon, who I'm pretty positive is Brittany, says, "I think we need to create a villain sometime for the Contributors Guild assignment."
Oh, that would be fun.
Yeah,
you should write that down.
Okay,
we should. I think we should write that. I think that's a good idea.
Create a villain.
Yeah.
It would be fun to see what everyone comes up with.
Yes.
A villain.
That'd be a lot of fun.
Okay, let's keep going.
All right.
Speaking of villains.
So this is probably, I would say, it is very possible this is the most popular NPC that we created yet, ever, to this point. It is very possible that Smedley is the number one. People have turned him into a demon.
Yeah. Alfabio's son.
Yes, Alfabio's son. Oh, that's a different
There's just something about a picture of the boy picking his nose. And just his character in general. Yes. Just his annoying character.
Show yourself, Camera Mandy.
I can't. It's too buried.
Camera Mandy.
So, yes. Anyway, I think that everything about Smedley is annoying and perfect. So I think that he's irritating just the right amount. You can pop him up whenever your players are like sitting there feeling like just, they're cooling off. They're, if you want to wake them up at the table, you put Smedley in there and get them all annoyed at Smedley. So yeah, I think Smedley is an excellent NPC and people may not like him, but that doesn't mean that he's
No, they don't like him, but they love him.
Yeah, exactly. That's exactly right.
But again, if you think about any tale, any good tale, it's very much foundational around characters, interesting characters. I mean, it is part and parcel to any wonderful story, and it just they just bring everything to life. And this kid is great.
I think the name is great. Harry says Smedley is annoying. A very solid player group are forced to deal with him in a safe way. That's the thing. He is annoying, but he's also a kid.
Yeah, you can't kill him.
Yeah, you can't kill him. So.
And he won't take no for an answer.
Yeah.
A typical kid.
Straxliff says Smedley is destined for greatness and he should not be besmirched. Hilarious.
Don't besmirch Smedley.
Okay. I want to talk about Chelsea here.
Oh, she's great.
So here's the thing that I really liked about Chelsea. And there's no don't to this because I think this is great. Chelsea's deaf.
She is.
And so I love the idea of an NPC that your players need to figure out how to communicate with in a different way. So if they don't speak sign language, if your player, I don't even know if sign language is like a thing that is a language. Or I would say if your player characters have some history or some reason why they would know sign language, then that would.
Well, they very well might, just because of Chelsea being in the troupe.
That is true. That is true.
But we have a strong commitment to diversity and, this Camera Mandy, and bringing, lots of different types of folks and feelings of folks and characters inspired. This is the whole idea behind the continents, the way we've done them, with each one of them being inspired by areas of our world. So if you go to Zestrenia, you're going to see a lot of people who have lighter brown skins and darker hairs and all of this stuff, and you won't see nearly as many more, which is obviously in the northern part of Zyathé, right, where you have more Caucasian-inspired individuals, right? And that would be the same if you went to Sundestia, where you'd see much darker-skinned individuals and much more inspired by Africa in our world. And that's very important to us. It's foundational to us, and I love Chelsea. I think she is fantastic.
Yes. So I think that just giving your player character, or sorry, NPCs, something a little bit different for your players to do, I think is awesome.
And again, each one of them with an opportunity to take them however the players, right? Because you know how it happens, right? They start interacting with the players, something happens, something occurs, some role occurs, something that you did not expect as the game master. And we want to give you the ammunition when we're doing this stuff. And you should always have that in your hip pocket as a game master. And we have many great game masters, so I know they do.
Mm-hmm.
Ready to make a move, because Chelsea could become very important just like that.
Mm-hmm. Okay. Okay, so this character is in chapter 4.
She's great.
And the thing that I really appreciated about her was that she had the pipe and the hat. So giving your characters or props of some sort. And like whenever the GM would, speak for her, he'd like pretend to hold.
Well, and she's a ghost.
Yeah. But I loved the idea of like a prop. So when he spoke, you were sensorily taken back to the conversations you had with her before.
Mm-hmm.
So because she kept reoccurring throughout the story as well. And I just thought having a prop there was a really great way to bring me back.
Yeah, Vera drew these ghosts, and I thought she did such a great job with them, right?
Yeah.
And that is another thing that we did in our world, right? Is we really wanted ghosts to not be so one-dimensional. They just showed up and killed you, right? And they fought you, right? So we wanted to bring the spirit world a little more texture. And so that's why we have, you will find more ghosts that are not just there to just try to destroy the party.
By the way, Harry did say, I use language a lot, including deafness, but the NPCs don't always speak the common speech. So sometimes even just having them speak, Elvish, nobody else in the party speaks Elvish or Draconic or whatever, is a great way.
Yes, wonderful little addition, as long as it doesn't bog you down, right? Yeah. That's the only thing you got to watch out for. But, obviously, Harry's probably done that quite a few times, and I've done it myself. You kind of manage your way through that so it doesn't become an impediment, but more an interest, right?
Yeah. Okay, last one for today. Sid.
Yes.
So why don't you tell us a little bit about his backstory and what he does because he's not necessary to the story. Like he is a side quest character.
Correct. Well, there may be Sid may reappear.
Yes.
Here in the future, right? And we created a group around him and an interesting little bit of backstory. He is a supplicant, and he has a little bit of things going on, and that will. I don't want to say too much because I don't want to throw out too many spoilers. But I think Sid will be potentially found again as you progress through the Red Star Rising campaign, right?
Yeah. Anyway, I think that the voice that you've done for Sid.
I am Sid. Yes.
Yeah.
I am a supplicant of the comity of the unseen star.
That the voice that you do has put him in my mind at all times. So yeah.
And again, when you're talking about voices for NPCs, you don't need tons of voices, right? You really don't. I have 5 or 6 that are sort of my mainstays, and then I have a few others that I break out. And I do write my voices, as I've noted, on the portrait card, so I remember which one they were for each one of the NPCs. But you do not have to be a voice impersonator to be a good game master by any stretch of the imagination, because your players are using their imaginations too. Yes, Cameraman?
Indeed. Okay.
So did the chat like this? Was this good? Something interesting, kind of fun?
Yeah. I will say, like, the reason that I was like inspired for this particular talk was because one of the things that we don't really do at Gooey Cube, I hope, but I know other game masters have done, is that they get too in love with their own NPCs. and they make the NPCs the heroes, not the player characters.
Yes.
And that does make it very difficult at the table to enjoy yourself because you want to be the one who feels like a hero as the player and person investing your time. And so
so the example, right? The example is your party is fighting a monster, and they don't really end up with the victory because you send in 3 NPCs to save them. Now, sometimes that's a wonderful thing to do. Sometimes.
If you have planned it and everything is hopeless, like it can be awesome.
That was the night your dad threw dice at me and said, "You're an asshole."
Yeah.
You're an asshole.
Yeah.
Because I did have them. It was the Kobayashi Maru. There was no way they were going to win that, but I had a plan because it's okay. That is not railroady. Sometimes your players may come up against a foe they cannot defeat. That is real.
Yeah.
Right? And so in this circumstance, I did have them rescued. And that led to a whole series of other adventures because that was part of the plan. But your dad did throw dice at me that night, Cameron.
So
I have 2 points. Which I'm like, yes.
Yes. I know. And you still talk about it.
I do.
And I love that. So use it sparingly. Only use it every once in a while.
Yes.
And I would say don't, in my opinion, I mean, you want an epic battle, but I will say there is nothing so frustrating as a player as like continuing to roll dice. If you let it go too long and then you literally cannot affect the outcome, like it can get very frustrating as a player.
Yes.
So making sure that you time it right so that way, your players aren't so frustrated, only to be saved by someone else. I think that's an important, like nuanced.
Well, again, it depends on a table too, because there are some tables that are much more war gamey and they love the combat, right? And that's their focus. I know other tables, they don't really even want to roll dice, right? They just literally want to do theater of the mind. They want to do a lot of role play, and literally combat gets diminished at those tables. So again, it depends on what your flavor, right? What your flavor is.
I would say like in my mind, as the GM, there should be one very unlikely scenario, like the Marvel Cinematic Universe with the snap. There was one in like 14,000 whatever chances that they were going to succeed on this. So in your mind, if they're rolling hot, like I think this is where the frustration would be. If they're rolling hot and they're doing awesome actions and they're engaged in this battle and they're doing really well, but they just cannot succeed at all, there's no chance of them to succeed. I think that's where it's like, well, I just wasted 3 hours of my life.
Yes.
But if you, as a GM, have that one thing in the back of your mind and you're like, I do want these NPCs to come in, but maybe now is not the night to do it. So I'm going to hold off on them and let them win this battle and let them have their moment.
Yes.
Then I think that is where, and like they have the possibility of affecting the battle. I think that can be very satisfying. So that is my.
Yeah, it's just, again, this is the fine line, because there is a fine line between sort of, as many people have heard me talk about this before, there is the fine line between sort of creating a story path, right? Which some would call a railroad, right? I don't believe that at all. Creating a story path that is affected and influenced and adjusted by the players as they do things, right? Versus just having a wherewithal, just go do whatever you want. And different people like those different styles, right? And so part of it is, do you offer a broader range of challenges to a table that would prefer to have more broader range of challenges and more interesting, different things happening with NPCs? The other tables might prefer to have a more structured tale as it goes forward. And this is just figuring out your table. I think there's wonderful applications for very much free for all. Let's see what happens and roll the dice and and interactions and explorations and all of that stuff. And then there's very much applications for really railroady stuff, because bad things happen to players, any heroes. Bad things happen to them they would not want to have happen. And so for me, I have no problem with it at all. If I will absolutely railroad in certain circumstances, because sorry, that's just the way life goes. It doesn't always work out for you, right? And I actually think that adds to the tale. But if you're doing that too much, which is what you just were speaking to, Cameron Mendy, it can be very frustrating for players.
Oh, that's like what is even the point?
Correct.
Okay, so I don't know why, but there's a lot of chat about fireballs in the There's a lot of chatter about fireballs and something about rock traps. Kill your players with the falling rock trap.
Well, there was a post this morning. I can't remember who posted it. I should remember about a trap that was a fishing chair. Because apparently the trap was, they knew that they had one player who loved to fish. And so just they put this trap in there that was designed specifically to trap the fisher person. So
fair enough. Okay. Well, I think that's it for today.
Chat like this?
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. So
okay.
Anyway, we're gonna go ahead and take off. I know we've kept you guys all a little bit long.
Sorry about a little length.
Yeah, sorry about the technical difficulties. I'll get them worked out by next week. So anyway.
All right, friends. Have a wonderful day. Soon to come is the interesting Mr. and Ms. Goo's excellent adventure.
Oh, I like that. Very nice. Bye.
You and I got to brainstorm that, cameraman.
Yeah, I know.
May all your adventures be sticky.
Bye.